Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful Allison Ricci. Allison, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing so good. It is amazing to have you here. But before we talk about why you're here, Allison, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. So, you went to college for criminal investigation, and unfortunately, when you graduated, the OC word had hit pretty hard, so you weren't able to start working as an officer because there was a bunch of layoffs happening. So, let's pause there for a second. You went to a school for criminal investigation. What got you interested in doing that and being a part of that?
Well, I actually went to a different high school than most. I went to a high school that was called P-Tech, so it was college and high school at the same time. And we did a lot of project-based learning there. And we did this one project, it was called the CSI project, and we had to basically solve a murder. And I
Okay.
knew right then and there, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of fun. And I guess it turned into a career after that, or what I wanted to do.
Right. Well, I mean, and it kind of was a blessing in disguise for you because with all the layoffs and everything, that's when you actually started your acting career.
Yeah.
And you just recently getting into acting, but it's been a passion of yours for quite a long time. And for a little bit there, you said you were going to give it one more go, and if nothing came of it, I mean, you can always fall back on that criminal degree that you have. I mean, shucks. But you did just get your first role in a horror film called Summer of the Wolf and two other movies. So obviously it is taking off a little bit for you. Now, spoiler free, is there anything you could tell us about Summer of the Wolf?
Ooh, let's see. Well, I know it's kind of been out in film festivals now, so some people have seen it, but honestly, I haven't even seen it yet. I haven't even seen the full movie.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to say about it. I'm just
And it's amazing though, like when you get on there and you're on set and you're getting to work with these other people and watching things come together. I'm so excited to finally be able to check this out. I've been able to talk about this before, and I'm very excited to actually get the ball rolling and finally be able to watch this film. And you're still working at, like I said, you did two other films. Can you talk to us a little bit about those, or are those still kind of under wraps?
well, one was a student film.
Mhm.
Or I guess I should say my co-star, the one that played my best friend in Summer of the Wolf, she directed, produced the movie. So it's all her film, and they had a little premiere for it, and she has it out on DVD for sale. So that was one of them that I did, and then another one is called A Devil's Tale. That one is still currently filming. I'm not filming anymore, but he still has some other scenes to film with it. So that one's still kind of in the works. And then I also just recently booked a TV show.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, and a good way to keep up to date on Allison and everything that she has coming up here in the future is to follow her on social media. And you don't have to go far to do that because all her social media links are right down here in the description. So make sure you're giving her a follow so you can see everything that she has coming up here in the future. And that way you can get release dates on Summer of the Wolf and the other projects that she's a part of, and you can see them for yourself. So, when you're going in for auditions and things, is horror something that you're really aiming for, or is it kind of I don't give a shit, give it to me and I'm gonna do it?
Honestly, when I first started acting, I grew up loving horror, but it wasn't one of those things where I was like, oh, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to do film wise. And I don't know, it just seems to be almost every film that I do is a horror movie.
Right.
I don't know why, but it's just
Well,
how
there's nothing wrong with that.
it works.
So we know about some of the things you've done. You've got coming up in the future. Summer of the Wolf will be premiering for everybody, not just the festivals. You got a TV show that you're going to be a part of, and we know what you're doing right now. But here for a second, Allie, I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and something I gotta say, I've done a didn't see that coming episode on this movie, but I've never talked about it on my first horror movie, and I absolutely adore this movie. So, Allie, your first horror movie was
Dead Silence. Yeah, that's the one I remember watching. Ugh.
yes, and for those of you that don't know, Dead Silence is a James Wan film that never got the credit it deserved because it came out right on the coattails of Saw. So a lot of people didn't give it, the recognition that it deserved. And I actually feel it is the superior film to Saw. So, do you remember about how old you were, Allie, the first time you had seen it?
Oh God. I gotta think, because I was living in our apartment at this time. So I want to say I was probably in middle school. Middle school, I would say. So probably seventh grade was the first one I remember.
Right. And what's crazy is this movie, even if you don't have a phobia of ventriloquist dolls or dummies in general, this movie will still get to you. Like, this is a movie that I watched for the first time with my wife when we were house sitting for my father, and it scared the bejesus out of both of us. This is just a genuine, scary atmosphere. I have a lot of fun with this movie. Even now with rewatches, I genuinely enjoy it. Do you remember who you were with when you had watched it for the first time?
Well, actually, my mother was in the living room watching it, and she must have fallen asleep while watching it because I snuck into the living room to see whatever she was watching. And I sat down, I watched it for a little bit. And then I just remember this one scene came up where I think it was like the older lady, she had fallen out of the casket and it was like the close up of her face. And I just ran out of the living room screaming and just hid in my bedroom because I wasn't expecting that at all.
Right. And there's so many different scenes in this movie that are super effective. And there's just so many different scenes that when you talk about this movie that you have to bring up and talk about. But which scene would you say it was, Allie, that affected you the most?
I would have to say, I think it was towards the end of the movie. The main character and someone else had gone into this room, and it was just like a wall of ventriloquist dolls. And it started off with a clown rocking in a chair, and he went to go attack these guys. And then all of a sudden, slowly, all of these ventriloquist dolls started attacking him one by one. And I guess that's what kind of freaked me out a little bit. I wouldn't say I have a phobia of ventriloquist dolls, but they definitely give me the heebie-jeebies now. I walk in and I see one in a store and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go this way now.
Right, right. And the way that it was done was played so well. Because there's no point really in the movie except for this moment, like when the doll's faces start stretching out, that you really get the dolls enacting anything. They're always literally the puppets to Mary Shaw, and I think that's what's so brilliant about this movie. But it's also where it kind of failed because people look at it and they're like, oh, it's a movie about a ventriloquist doll. We've already seen this with Chucky. We've already seen it with Goosebumps, Night of the Dummy. We've seen this happen before, but it really is not. It's so much deeper than that. You never really have the dolls coming to life and going after people. They're always literally the puppets to Mary Shaw. So that's what I love so much about this movie is it's ingenious because you use the front of the dolls, and that's really what they are. They're just a front. There's nothing evil or demonic about the dolls themselves. It's Mary Shaw that is the evil one. So this is a movie that there are plenty of moments of levity throughout the movie. I think Donnie Wahlberg's character, he's always shaven. I think he's amazing. I think that his character is so fantastic in this film. What would you say your favorite moment of the film is?
Ooh. Honestly, I would, if I remember it correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But my favorite thing about this movie is it's a lot different than other horror movies with the ending. Because if I remember correctly, everybody dies.
Yes.
There's no survivors. So I would have to say that's probably my favorite because it's just so unconventional. Horror movies don't normally go that way. There's always some sort of a little bit of a happy ending that happens.
Oh, there's no happiness to this ending. And if you guys haven't seen it, she did say everyone dies, so you do get that. But if you haven't seen this movie already, you're fine. I was gonna say because we've already done a whole episode about this movie on our channel, and how crazy the twist in this movie is. And I think that I'm not gonna tell you guys what the twist is because yes, the main characters die. It happens. But if you haven't seen this movie, you still need to watch it because the way the twist is played out is fucking brilliant. I remember my jaw literally was like, when we got to the twist at the end, I was like, that was fucking genius. Like, we watched this movie and then we took a shower and we watched the movie again. Like, that's how invested we were. I was like, I got to go back and look at some of these things that I might have missed throughout the film because it's a great film with a lot of really deep moments in it that you may have missed the first time around. So we talk about your favorite scenes, your favorite moments, and this film. Something I've been asking people: would you like to see your first horror movie remade today? Now, unfortunately, we never got a sequel to this film, and it's still fairly fresh. So I don't think it's quite in the remake era yet. But would you like to see maybe a sequel to Dead Silence, or maybe even a prequel to see what really happened with Mary Shaw when she was attacked in that theater?
Yes, and I would love to act in it.
Yes, there we go. I like that even more. Yeah, I would love to be a part of this. I'll be a guy that holds a boom mic if I have to. Like, that's how much I genuinely love this movie. I think it's such a fantastic movie. And like I said, there's moments in this movie where I literally laugh out loud. Like everything Donnie Wahlberg does, like when he has the puppet and he's like,
Why did you bury me, Jamie? Is it because I'm evidence in a capital crime? A crime that you are the number one suspect in?
and he's trying to talk with the puppet.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was pure genius. I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So and we talked about your first horror movie, Allie, and what that movie means to you being Dead Silence. But here for a little bit, my buddy Ghostface is here, Allie, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Allie? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh God, it's so hard because I have seen a lot of horror movies and even like newer ones. I want a good horror movie that makes me not want to sleep at night. And it's so hard to find one of those nowadays. So I would have to say my favorite horror movie honestly would probably have to be The Grudge. I love and I hate it because that is the one horror movie that like, I can't watch all the way through because it freaks me out. And I couldn't even tell you why. I don't know why
Right.
it freaks me out so much, but just that movie in general, I've never been able to like watch it and sleep okay at night. I'm
Well,
like,
it's one of those movies, those J horror movies in general, the foreign Japanese horror films, they just have this level of, I think The Ring is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen for the time, and it's PG-13. I mean, they didn't need a hard R rating in order to scare us, and I think that's same thing with The Grudge. That first Grudge movie, fantastic film, a lot of fantastic moments. I am a big fan of J horror, and I love what they did with that film. You're talking about movies that are unsettling and that make you not want to sleep at night. If I can recommend one for you, and everybody watching that knows me knows what I'm going to say, there's a movie that came out in 2020 called The Dark and the Wicked. That movie, at the time I was 35, I've been on this planet for 35 years. I thought I was desensitized to horror movies. Then I watched The Dark and the Wicked, and it scared the shit out of me. That movie really, I watched it with Ashley like 2 p.m, and I was like, holy shit, this movie is scaring the hell out of me.
I'm gonna write that down because I have yet to see a good horror movie that has made me not want to sleep at night. And there's 2 horror movies that just recently came out that I've been dying to see. So I'm hoping maybe those will do it for me, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. So I've had an amazing time talking to you about how horror started for you, some of the things that you've done in your life. Now, what I want to do real quick is I want to bounce back to Dead Silence. And, there are a fair amount of kills throughout Dead Silence. There's not many on screen. Most of them are just off screen or just below screen. But do you remember which kill it was that was your favorite or affected you the most from Dead Silence?
Ooh, I gotta think. The ones, there's only a few that are popping up in my head right now. There's the very first kill, because you expect it, but you don't. Right. And I remember the officer, how he was killed. But for some reason, I have to rewatch this movie again because it's like I said, it's been so long. But
both of those are impactful. Like when you have Donnie Wahlberg, when he's falling and he's screaming, and then he pops out and you see his tongue's been ripped out, and he just stays there for a little bit before he continues to fall. Like there's so many moments like that in the movie where you can't scream or you die. And it's just like, oh, I would just never scream. Yeah. If you fall off a building, bro, you're gonna scream. Like it's like your body's natural reaction is you're gonna scream. And that opening one, like you said, she's pregnant. Then we're not gonna kill her. There's no way. And then we find her body under that sheet. Like, it's just so epic. And I know I said this at the beginning, guys, but I'm going to tell you one more time. All of Allison's social media links are down in the description. So make sure you are following her to stay up to date on everything she's working on, and also to support her in the future projects that she's going to be working on. So Dead Silence, obviously, like I've said many times, one of my absolute favorite horror films. I think it's scary. I think it's intelligent. I think it has a great twist. I love the acting throughout. But we're not here to talk about me, Allie. We're here to talk about you. And what we're going to do is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking Dead Silence on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. What we're doing here is strictly ranking Dead Silence on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Allie, what would your ranking of Dead Silence be?
When I first watched it,
Yep.
I would say probably a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that one scene came up and I was running. I was running out. I was not watching no more. But
Right.
I had seen, so this movie, I had seen it that first time. I had ran out, but I had watched it so many more times after that, to the point where this movie would help me fall asleep at night.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to say, but I just watched it that much. And
Yeah, it became a comfort movie.
Mhm. And I couldn't even tell you why.
Well, it's just, we all have those. You know, we like Shaun of the Dead was one for me. You know, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I could put those movies on repeat at night and fall asleep, and I could wake up at like any point in the night, and I could just start saying what's going on in the movie. I could start quoting the lines as they're going. That's how many times I'd seen both of those films, and I totally understand and respect where you're coming from there. So, guys, we are at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll, and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, third time's a charm. All of Allie's social media links are down here in the description, guys. So make sure you're following her to show your support and to help be ready for her projects that she has coming up. Allie, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. We'd love to have you along for the ride. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.